Hello, hello. Welcome to DBL. Erica Cobb looking good. She's back.
Thank you.
Yes, welcome back, girl.
We're going to hear a little bit about Erica's adventure in Beverly Hills, so stay tuned for that. We're very excited, me especially.
Thank you for going around me to compliment her. That felt
You
great.
were here yesterday.
Okay.
Are you
Erica
excited you passed the bar in Southern California or South Carolina? Looks like a, yeah, I was going to say you look like a Southern lawyer. I've ruined
But
it.
you used the complete West Coast.
Idea.
Let's get to it, shall we? All right, so welcome to DBL. Millions of us have tuned in each week, some more than others. Erica and her family love the show. We were all wooed by the wholesome and authentic love story being sold on The Golden Bachelor, but were we all duped? So a new expose in The Hollywood Reporter spoke to a, quote, secret ex-girlfriend of Gerry's that he supposedly dated after his wife of 43 years had passed. This ex claims they dated for nearly 3 years and even moved in together before he allegedly dumped her for gaining 10 pounds. But this is not what Gerry portrayed. Here's what he told Entertainment Tonight. Take a look.
Have the ladies been sliding into the DMs, Gerry?
I don't know what that is. I know absolutely nothing about social media. I'm a neophyte to this. I mean, I haven't dated in 45 years.
So all of this has come to light just before tonight's big finale, where he will reveal the woman he wants to start a whole new life with. What do we think of all this? Okay, so Erica, as someone who's watched it proudly with your mother, do you feel duped, or do you think this is an ex-lover, jilted ex-lover?
I don't feel duped. I didn't believe that Gerry at 71 years old had never done anything that we might frown upon. I think everyone has a time in their life where they've lied, cheated, stolen, or made the wrong decision, you know? That's called being a human, and I appreciate that. I think there's two things. The ex-girlfriend probably felt like she was being erased from his life. And I feel like that's an appropriate response to say, okay, you can't say you haven't dated anyone when we had a 3-year relationship and we lived together. However, it's reality television, so we're being sold this fantasy, and that's why people like me are watching. Gerry could have said at one point, well, I have had a couple of relationships since my wife passed away, but that's not going to fit the narrative of The Golden Bachelor. So I think some of it is escaping the reality of reality. But the idea that this is some big expose, like if it's an expose, then to me that means that there's something that was so terrible that he did in his past that he didn't even deserve to be in this position. And the article just doesn't read that way.
No. When you talk to people that watch these shows, like that have been watching The Bachelorette forever, or whichever one you watch, you listen to them, they're vested like, well, you know, the first guy, he's going to be super hot, but he's not going to measure up. Like, I think everybody kind of understands that there's theater to this. And there's a structure.
They don't.
There's a structure to these shows.
No one understands that there's theater to this. That's why there's outrage. People actually think The Golden Bachelor, in their minds, is this perfect, eligible bachelor that they wish they could marry. That's what the producers sell. Is that responsible of the producers, in my opinion? Should they have vetted Gerry even more, in my opinion? Because I do think that the average consumer, not y'all, but the average consumer believes the hype and the fantasy.
But you're saying consumer like they're buying something. What they're doing is they're trying to get into this fantasy, and it's a producer's job to help them get in there. And they can't say, hey, this is the Bachelor, the guy, the #1 Bachelor. It's not just what's his face. That's not the name of the show. They want you to think this is the greatest. This is the guy that you should want to marry, and it's the producer's job, Jeff, to help paint that picture for them.
I totally agree. That's why there's a phrase called pulling back the curtain, because it's not what you see, it's Hollywood. We've been taught this since we were little kids. Cinderella, I have the perfect slipper for you, whatever it may be, the prince, whatever. Show that picture of Gerry. Nobody lives up to this photo right here. Look at that photo. Nobody, the dog is even on, the paw is on his lap. Nobody lives up to that photo, okay? And to think that there's a man
it's a painted
out there,
wall.
First of all, I'm going to put my face on there and make that my new profile picture, by the way. Yeah, it's great. But that is what the producers are selling you. That is what Hollywood is selling you, the perfect guy. There is no such thing. There's no such thing as the perfect person, like Erica said, especially at 71. And if you tell that story, if you even go back to that clip, he goes, I haven't dated in 45 years.
Yeah.
I haven't dated in 43 years. I dated this girl. Well, Gerry, I know we're going to talk about the show. Who is this woman? This woman has in 45 years, she has nothing to do with this story that we're trying to sell here in Hollywood. Just leave her out. Did you own a restaurant in the 80s? let's put that in there. You're an entrepreneur and you own. They simplify things.
Should they be more transparent in 2023?
No, we're selling an image. Everything on the
Look
internet
at her face. She was like this.
Nobody's selling that face.
He looked at my face and just dropped his
No, what, you have a counter opinion?
I think in 2023, authenticity is hot. I don't think this is a very now thing to do. If they had introduced Gerry as a hot tub maintenance dude and a regular guy who worked at this, and he's dated some and he hasn't found love, it would have been better than that J. Crew looking, let me finish, fake looking, weird, shiny, polished, overly creepy looking picture. What I'm attracted to and what people are wanting is reality in these days. Today is the reigning day of authenticity.
Will you meet me halfway and say
transparency?
Will you meet me halfway and say that they want scripted reality?
Yes, but I certainly don't think they want it that polished. The squeaky clean is very 1990s to me, and I find it very sort of cringe.
Okay, I understand what you're saying, and I do agree with the idea of it being perfect is not going to,
turn you on.
It's not going to jive in this climate. However, it is reality. We are there for something very specific. The only people who should be affected by the idea that Gerry might have had a girlfriend at one point are the people who are in the running to win his love. I mean, you're talking about a reality show where the prize is a person, which is bizarre in itself. However, we've already subscribed to this thing, and maybe they did know that there was perhaps another woman that he had dated after his wife passed away. To me, as a viewer, I don't care. I want to see this fantasy thing. I want to see them go on dates that no one in the history of ever could ever afford. I want to see them be happy. I like the inspiration behind the idea of people of a certain age understanding that love is still a possibility. And then after the final rose, I'm not going to think about Gerry ever again.
Yeah.
Most of us aren't. And that's no shade to Gerry. But Gerry doesn't affect my life. He only affects my life for the 16-week run. And that's why I love Gerry right now.
But would it bother you? I agree with you, but I gotta say this. If you were, and you did mention this, someone who was with Gerry for many years, 3 years, and lived with him, and whether or not this is true, this is alleged, and then you were kicked out and left because you gained 10 pounds. And no, let me finish my point. I'm playing devil's advocate, okay? And then all of a sudden you see this picture perfect image on TV, which I understand the producer's agenda. But would you at home want to tell your truth because it's so drastically different than what's put out there? So I just want to say that people don't blame this woman.
I know, I agree.
That's all.
That's why
both can be true.
Erasure is the fastest way for somebody to come with their truth. You can't erase someone, but I don't know if it's necessarily Gerry's fault.
Right, both can be true because she's now getting slammed.
But we're talking about painting a picture, and the producers are painting a perfect image of what Gerry is. That's what television does. I'm sorry to break your heart, okay? You want to know?
You're not breaking my heart.
No, I'm talking to the audience.
Yeah.
Do you want me to pull back the curtain? Hollywood's a nasty place.
Right.
It's nasty, and people
but does she have every right to tell her truth?
Climb up. But here's the thing: the media is also painting a picture right now of incorrect information, and to put in there that Gerry broke up with her to lose 10 pounds is painting a very bad picture.
We don't know.
You could just say, you know what? He's got a picture of Trump on his wall. I hate Gerry. You can paint whatever picture you want. In the media, I don't like, or it might be false.
True.
Or it might be false.
Very
so
true.
I'd rather go with the positive and put this perfect picture in my mind than focus on all the negative that we always do on a daily basis.
Wait, Jeff, you want to put that picture in your mind with the dog?
I'm going to make that my profile picture.
All right, there it is.